Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. It's our pre-show that we do here every day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Our guest is, for both hours, is consumer electronics expert Sandy Berger is going to be joining us, talking about all the cool things that she sought out at the Consumer Electronics Show. It's just going to be a fun program, both hours with Sandy. And again, of course, the Amazon Echo is going to be in there because she loves the Amazon Echo, so we'll be talking about that as well.
1 minute until showtime.
So as you hear, we got less than a minute, and we'll be starting the live show momentarily. So sit back, relax, enjoy 2 hours of Computer America.
Funny or Die just released a 50-minute movie based on Donald Trump with Johnny Depp as the star. Not bad for Funny or Die. They usually do, the little 3-minute videos. 50-minute made-for-TV movie. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Directed by Ron Howard.
Really?
Yep.
Well, impressive. 10 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it is Wednesday. It's we reached the hump of the week, if you will. And we are. And welcome to the show. So glad that you're all here. We have an interesting show, as always, planned for you. Both hours today is going to be consumer electronics expert Sandy Berger. She's here with us and talking about anything having to do with consumer electronics. We have some very interesting topics that we'll be discussing with her momentarily. Let's get the usual out of the way. If you have a comment or question for myself or Ben or for Sandy, give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. If you are radio shy and you don't want to go on the air, then just simply go to ComputerAmerica.com, any page there at our website. On the upper right-hand corner, it says Submit a Question. Just click it. It's a link. It'll take you to our question submission page where you can type in your question, hit the Submit button. Ben and I will see it immediately, and we'll act accordingly upon whatever it is that you're typing. Okay? If it's a question for Sandy, we'll ask it on your behalf. Okay? The other thing you can do is watch the live show. We stream the live video, and you can watch us at ComputerAmerica.com, which is the internet home of our radio broadcast. Just click the Show Lounge selection that's on any page at the website. You will be joined immediately. You'll actually go to our live video streaming page, and you'll join the show already in progress, assuming you're watching us between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. When we are not live, then you go to our archives page where we archive all of our videos. You can select which one you like, and of course the audio as well is on the archives page. You can listen to us at your own leisure. But as I've always said, we enjoy your joining us live. It just makes things more spontaneous, and we love to know that you're watching us. And
that sounded creepier than it probably was.
It sounds a little creepy, but hey, we're doing this intentionally. We do want you to watch us. Okay. The other thing that you can do is you really want to watch Ben, because he has the technology to display websites.
That also sounds creepy. Thank you, Craig.
Anytime. You can display websites, movies, videos. You can see everything that we're talking about Ben can display that as well, so it just makes for a more interactive experience here on the Computer America Show. We invite you to do that as well. Of course, archives are available here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, SoundCloud, Stitcher carries us. There's the IRN Radio Network, the TuneIn Radio Network. All these places you can listen to the show live or archives, Apple's iTunes. And as we're going to find out a little bit later, that you can now listen to us on the Amazon Echo. We need to start promoting that because one of the many places that carries our show, you can now listen to us on the Amazon Echo. We'll talk more about that with Sandy momentarily. Before I bring Sandy on anything else you want to mention, Ben?
No. We have had some very good guests lately. So please go check out the archives. Yesterday's Gamer Tuesday show was very entertaining. We had some great conversation with Josh Boykin.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, and the time really flew by. So, but other than that, nope. I think we are good to go.
Well, as I said, joining us today is Sandy Berger. Sandy is a consumer electronics expert, well-versed in things like printers, cell phones, digital cameras, similar types of devices. Her website is CompuKiss.com, and Sandy is one of our Computer America correspondents who appears here on the show on a monthly basis. She's also writes for anewdomain.net and also HardwareSecrets.com, other places that you can read her work. Sandy, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
You sound great. You look great.
Glad you could join us.
Yes.
All right.
You were a little under the weather last time, but hopefully...
And you survived.
Yeah,
yes, I'm back.
And we're so glad that you're here with us. One other thing I want to let our listeners know about Sandy is that since she really is editorial in content, everything you're going to hear today's show and anything you read that Sandy does is editorial. She's not paid to do puff reviews. If she likes a product, she's going to tell you she likes it, and she'll tell you why. If she doesn't like something, she's going to tell you that as well, and will tell you why. So you're going to get the real scoop from Sandy, and we really like that about her here on the show. So, Sandy, I know you're back from the Consumer Electronics Show, and although we've sort of beat it half to death, there's a good reason for that, because there was just so many things to beat half to death, and cover.
It was so exciting. Yeah.
It was exciting, and we continue to have interviews. We had an interview, I think, on Monday, which is a direct result of the Consumer Electronics Show. Yeah, we had. Sleep Ace was one of our guests. We picked them up from CES, and we have lots more. Ben came with a stack of cards like this thick, so we're going to have shows like that. So we're going to talk about that and some of the products that you're talking about on today's show, also from CES. One of the nice things, of course, when you're out at CES, you're seeing them, but you don't have a chance to really try them or put them to the test. And I know you're going to be talking about a number of things that you saw at CES, but also now you spent some time with them. You can give us a more in-depth opinion on them as well. Any thoughts about CES from your point of view? I know I've asked you, but I don't think I asked you since you came back. I might have, but let me ask you again. Anything else now that you've had 2 months to reflect about it? Anything else?
I think it was just the idea of how quickly things are moving, especially in this area that we talked about last month, which was sensors. Sensors and everything, home automation, it's just booming, and it seems to be going faster and faster. New products the Echo is connected to new things every day, and it's all at your fingertips.
Yeah, exactly.
At your fingertips, that's an old expression. Everything's voice controlled now. You don't have to press anything.
That's true.
At your vocal
Good
cord.
point, Ben.
So, all right, well, let's just start off with some things. The first thing we're going to be talking about is from a company called Marcel Products, and it's called their M cable. And now, why don't you tell us a little bit about what this product is? And it's more than just a cable, correct?
It is, and it's one of the things that I was very impressed with it from CES. What they've done is it's actually the M cable is an HDMI cable. But what they've done is they've included a whole processor right into the cable. And that processor is used for upscaling, Well, we've always had upscaling. Right now we have DVD players that can upscale and TVs that can upscale. And what that means is they have the knowledge programmed into them so that they can make the picture better. Well, the upscaling is not always that good. Sometimes it's decent, sometimes it's not. But I stood at the M-Cable booth and looked at this device, and they showed two TVs, one with the regular cable and one with the M-Cable, and there was a dramatic difference. So I decided to go ahead and try it. And what I found out when I got it home, there's a dramatic difference.
Now this is a company called Marcel Products, and Ben, you can actually watch it. I tried to put it in marcelproducts.com. I'm getting a server not found, so I'm assuming that there's a different link or something.
Maybe you spelled it wrong. Let's see.
No, it's marcelinc, I believe, .com.
Okay, yeah, the Marcel Products takes you to Marcel Inc. too.
Yeah. Now, well, I'm going to marcelproducts.com.
Well, I know one. The link that is probably in the show notes now, because we're kind of reading off the show notes. By the way, go find this over at our website. You're missing an I after the first E.
He's right. Yeah, MARSEILLE.
Ah, okay.
Which would be Marseille, actually.
Marcel.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a French company.
Oh, those French.
La Marseillaise, exactly. Okay, so so this is an HDMI cable that basically does what? It upscales, is what you're saying.
Right in the cable, where up until now, this is the first cable of this type I've seen, because up until now there were devices that could upscale the picture, but you had to, be using a DVD player or something else. And the thing that I really was impressed with is the noise reduction. The noise reduction was dramatic, and also the edge restoration. So a lot of times when you're upscaling, the edges look vague, or they look, like they've got a lot of pixels out of place. And this product actually did a very good job of upscaling. So I put it on our TV and brought my husband in and said, "What do you think?" And he said, "How'd the picture get so good?" So there is, like I said, a dramatic difference. Now, the product itself costs $129 for, I think it was a 6-foot cable, and $149 for a longer cable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already available. It's available through Amazon.
Well, I have a question. Mm-hmm. If you buy the 6-foot cable, because the electronics of the brain is only at one end, can't you just plug another regular HDMI cable to extend it and still use the brain, to plug it in? I mean,
no, both ends of this particular cable are different. So one end of the cable is marked to the TV, and the other end of the cable is marked to the source. And the other thing about that is that it's also got its own power. So it comes with a USB cable, and you have to, if you have a USB port on your computer, you have to plug it into the USB port first, power it up, and then you simply plug each end into it.
So you can't put an extension cable on it?
You could try, but personally, I doubt that it would work.
Yeah, maybe they thought about that in advance. And say, make sure that they're going to have to buy the longer cable.
I mean, if you have the cable going from, let's say, your computer to a television set, just go between, the one end that should be plugged into the TV, have that plugged into another HDMI cable, and so there's just one extra cable that goes between the output. That might work.
It should work from thinking logically about it, but that's not necessarily true.
Right. You can't think logically. How dare? No.
Yeah, and also, as you know, there are length restrictions even with normal HDMI. You just can't run HDMI endlessly. That you do get a sort of a drop off after a certain.
That's why anyone out there, hopefully you were watching the Tiger Direct sale that was going on last month. I mean, they were selling 50-foot HDMI cables for like $3. It was a good sale.
Well, I've always said that you shouldn't go ahead and pay. There are places out there that are charging $100 for a plain old ordinary HDMI cable. Yeah. And when you buy a TV at those places, they try to convince you that you need that cable. And the fact of the matter is, on analog, that made a difference. the length of the cable, the quality of the cable made a big difference in your picture. But with digital, either the picture is going through or it's not. And so pretty much even the cheaper cables are fine as far as plain old HDMI cables.
Yeah,
this is anything but a plain old HDMI cable.
Right.
I remember there was sort of a scandal or something with one of the well-known upscale cable companies that caused quite a bit of concern. I know they're still in business, and I still know they do a good. And I don't know if it was ever resolved, but I did hear that cable company. I know. I think you know who I'm talking about.
Not a clue, but anonymous for anonymous sake. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to be. Yeah. Well, if you go on to AIM, I'll type it in for you, Ben.
Oh.
But the thing
Does it start with the letter M?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I just guessed.
Yes. We all know now. I'm glad we all know. That. We're not saying, but I'm glad we all know.
But whether that's, as Sandy says, evidently it's true. I mean, if you're working with analog, it certainly makes a difference. But digital, it's ones and zeros. Either the ones and zeros get there or they don't get there, and that's
right.
It's either true or it's false, and that's it.
But this M cable, I guess the brains that are in either end of this HDMI cable are pretty neat. And you said the price for the short one was
$129.
And you have tried this, right?
I have tried it. It looks very, very nice. It looks as good as the display on I only tried it on one TV. The down thing on this is that now I put it between my TV and my cable box. Okay, so I get the upscaling on my TV. However, I have a different HDMI cable on my Blu-ray player and my Amazon Fire and my Apple TV. So in order for them to all take advantage of that, I would have to buy each one a separate cable. Unless, of course, I had an AV receiver, which I do on one of my other televisions. So that's the next thing to check. If I plug this into my AV receiver, in theory, it should give me a great picture on anything that I have attached to that, because there's only one HDMI cable going to the AV receiver.
Now, to muddy the water even further, Sandy.
Leave it to you to try to muddy the water. Yeah.
Exactly. We just recently got a Vizio 4K television, which I'm extremely pleased with. I mean, it's a gorgeous TV, and we got it at a great price. 50-inch TV for about a little over $500. Yeah, exactly. So. But one of the things that I noticed, it had like 3 HDMI inputs on the TV in the back, but then there was a fourth one, but it was labeled in gold, and looking at it closer, it evidently is a different standard. It's a 4K standard for HDMI, or a higher quality HDMI that's built into that. So I'm not sure exactly what that's for. I keep telling myself I'm going to look it up, I'm going to Google it, and then I keep forgetting. I need to do that. Maybe during the break I can run out there and take a gander at it, unless you're familiar with what it is I'm talking about.
I'm not sure what it is you're talking about, but I do know that there are people that have used this M cable on their 4K TVs and gotten a better picture on stuff coming in that's not 4K. Okay, so you could use the M cable on your 4K TV, and it would upscale the pictures, because right now there's very little 4K content.
Right.
I'm on Netflix and a few others. But
Netflix, I pay them an additional $3 a month, and that gives me access to their 4K content. So I do that, and I only started doing that since we got the 4K TV. It actually kind of noted and says, hey, for additional $3 a month, we can give you access to 4K content. And when I do, the TV always senses this little button you can push on the TV, and it'll show you on screen what resolution it's receiving. And at first you see it's 720, then it goes to 1080, and then it goes to 2 something, which is the higher resolution. So you can see the resolution.
4K.
4K, yeah. But on our UVerse receiver, the highest you can get is 1080p. That's it. So so I guess
those aren't cable companies.
Yeah. So I guess something like that, you could hook it to your UVerse box and this cable, and then you would get a better resolution display. I mean, did your husband notice it right away? Did he walk in, or you
Yes.
had to point it
No,
out?
he did, but he knew that I had this cable, that eventually I was going to be testing it, and so maybe he realized it. He knew about that, but he did notice the difference. Now, there's a couple, not really drawbacks, but there's a couple caveats here. In that, if you are running the cable to, say, a DVD player that has upscaling built in, you have to either try to turn that upscaling off, because it works better if it's something else is not trying to upscale it already.
Yeah, you know what that sounds like? That's like when you have an MP3 file. Don't compress an MP3 file, because you don't want to compress a compressed file, because then
Exactly.
it works against each other. And I think that's probably the same concept of what's going on here.
Exactly. All upscaling is different. It's done in different ways, and you don't ever want to upscale something that's already upscaled. So they do give instructions on the website for hooking up those type of devices and what to do. I have not tried that yet, but that's one thing that did come up when I looked at it.
Sure. And what else came up when you were trying this cable out?
The thing that, I guess, that other thing that impressed me was there was no latency. Sometimes with upscaling you can see there's just a very, even a minute type of amount of latency causes, you can see it. But with this, there seemed to be pretty close to zero latency. At least my eyes didn't see anything.
It's interesting. You know where you see that latency is when you're listening to somebody talk and their mouth doesn't quite, you
Yeah,
hear
if it's really bad, you'll see
and
that.
the mouth moves. Yeah, it's
Right.
like a bad, Japanese film, where they're foreign film.
I hate it when it's just off enough that your brain thinks there's something wrong, but your ears can't really hear it, and so you stare at it like trying to find it.
Right. Usually
Grating.
the sound in the mouth kind of catches up, because the sound is more quickly processed than the video image. But it's interesting because, and I this is something that I noticed immediately, Sandy, on the new TV that we got from Vizio. There is actually, in the setup, there is a video lag setting. I mean, they've anticipated this, where and it comes with a slider, and you can adjust the TV automatically or manually. You can do either way to adjust for the lag, which I had not seen before on any set before. So I thought that was very, very slick that they will put something like that, because before that you'd have to buy an external box, and put it in.
Right.
And now they're building it into. I haven't looked at other 4K TVs to compare, but the fact that Vizio has it, I would think that other TVs would have something similar to offer that. So if there is a latency or a lag, you can adjust it either with this cable, or you can adjust it in the TV itself, which is nice. But then again, it's one of the reasons it's an automatic process, because latency or lag doesn't happen on all channels. Sometimes it works fine on one channel and the other one's got the lag,
And that's what you'll see if you put a cable like this on your TV. What you're going to see is movies look great. They're coming through great. Some commercials look really good, and then you'll get to a commercial which looks pretty crummy. And those are usually the local commercials where they haven't spent too much money to produce the things.
Exactly. So
there's a big difference.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just in the. And of course, the commercials too sometimes are not in high definition in the first place. So all of a sudden, you see these large black bars appear on the left and your right of your screen, and you know it's an old format, CRT format, and it's going to take probably years for people to catch up with all of this stuff. And of course, by the time they catch up, there'll be something newer anyway. So.
Aren't we?
Yeah, all of it. So the M cable, again, selling for what, about
$129
or $249. This is on Amazon.
Right.
Okay.
They're also, the M cable is supposed to work with 3D. I don't have a 3D TV, but they said that it does work with that. And I just looked, and they're compliant with HDMI 1.4. Actually, it says 1.4B. And I wonder if that's the gold color HDMI port you have on your TV.
During the break,
that should be the latest one.
During the break, I'm going to run out there and just take a look at it real quickly, and then come back and let you know what it is, because now it's piqued my interest again. But I decided not to use it because the only thing we have right now is the Uverse DVR box, and that's only 1080p, and so it doesn't make sense to put it in there. So I didn't use that port, that HDMI port. Perhaps maybe when we get something else later on that has that, I can always switch to it and see what happens.
And the one other thing about the idea of having a cable that upscales is that your 4K that you're getting on Netflix takes up a whole lot more bandwidth than a lot of people have. So if you're longing to get a 4K TV, but you don't want to upgrade your internet, some places you can't get that speed that you need for it, or the bandwidth, I should say, then this cable is an excellent idea because you're getting a better picture, but you don't need a faster internet connection.
That was one of the first things that I noticed too. Because hooking the TV up, I could have gone direct to an Ethernet, but there's also Wi-Fi built in, and I figured, well, before I go through the agony of trying to hook up an Ethernet, let's see what kind of results I get with Wi-Fi. And surprisingly, we have a strong Wi-Fi signal in the house, and it worked. It's yet to fail. I mean, it's worked every so time.
And luckily, we just got upgraded to 45 megabits a second not too long ago, which is pretty good. We used to have only 12 megabits per second. Like that was the highest in our neighborhood, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I think cable companies. I'm not gonna say thanks to Google or Google Fiber, but just in general, they seem to be
they're improving.
Yeah, 50 is pretty common almost everywhere nowadays.
Well, I wouldn't say that. There's a lot of rural areas.
Oh, no, yeah.
And there's a lot of areas that just don't get that kind of bandwidth. So this might be an answer for some of them.
Well, there's two bottlenecks. You're talking about the internet service coming to the home, which is one thing, and then the second bottleneck is from the Wi-Fi
from the router to the device.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. The wireless connection. And I was a little concerned because our wireless connection actually is in a different room. And we have a CBC construction, so it's a concrete block, which is really good at blocking Wi-Fi signals. So I was a little concerned about the TV receiving the Wi-Fi signal. But as I said, it actually gives you a little status. It shows 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, up to 100%, and it just blazes through that real fast, and you got your program almost immediately. So. I think that's 802.11n. We're not on AC yet. I think this router is still 802.11n, but that's pretty fast. And yeah, it's good. So it works really, really nicely. I mean, I've not detected any lag with it yet, and we've watched a lot of Netflix shows on that television set. So, again, so we're back. So anything else about the M cable you want our listeners?
No, I think we kind of covered it all.
Okay, again, $129, $149, available now at the website and at MarseilleProducts.com, and we will have.
And something that I'm probably going to be interested in, and I'm going to have to send them an email. They have a gamer edition coming out soon.
Yes, they do. They did mention that at CES. So that's right. You would be very interested in that.
Yeah, just kind of because video games, and we have just high power graphics cards all the time. Like the better the graphics card, the better the picture that you really want. But I'm kind of curious to see just what kind of performance increases you can get by maybe turning down the settings on the game to lighten up on the graphics card, and then maybe having this upscale it for you. Like, or is it just a better picture to a better picture? I'm kind of curious and see what they're going to do for gamers, because that sounds very, very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously with a game, you can control a lot of the graphics settings.
And of course, if there's one thing I need, it's when I move my rig, I need one more thing to say. Be careful with that. That costs so much money. And now I'm going to be able to say that about my cable. So.
Yeah, it's an old cable you can just toss in the bucket in the garage. We've found more cables just kind of like, oh, here, I need this kind of cable. Let me just dust it off. This is probably going to take a little more care because the electronics on it are kind of sophisticated. And so on.
Right.
expose it to.
Did you find that whenever you try to use it, and of course you've probably only used it one or two places, was it hard to find a USB port to use in tandem with this?
My TV, I have most of my TVs have a USB port, on the TV. But if your TV did not have a USB port, they say that you can use a portable power device.
Okay.
Do they offer that? That you can get the portable power?
I didn't see it on their website, but I did see that it said you could do that.
Okay, because if you're looking for like a universal Radio Shack, when they were around, was very good at supplying.
They're still around.
Yeah, I know. But not all power supplies are created equal. You have to know the amperage, because you put something on, you can blow it out. You put too much amperage with it, so you have to have the right connector, and you have to have the right settings. So hopefully they'll make that available. If you can't.
I'll have to look and see if they have one that they're selling or suggesting a certain one.
Although USB USB as a power source is becoming more standardized. We're actually seeing AC wall units now that have USB ports that you can plug things in. But there's still two. I think there are two different versions. I mean, there's one that's low power, and then there's another one that's like a higher power, so you can charge your phone twice as quickly. So. But
isn't that in the power supply itself?
It could be.
It's not in the USB actually.
No. Well,
it's in the power supply.
Okay.
How much power it has.
There you go. All right, we're talking to Sandy Berger. We're at about in the hour. We're going to take a quick break. We have a news disposal review from Marty Winston coming up. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Sandy Berger is here with both hours. We'll be right back with her right after these words. Stay with us. I'm going to check out that Vizio right now.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Yeah, I started my training for St. Patrick's Day. Hi, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, Trackamo. A gizmo slightly bigger than a pat of butter packs GPS, a lithium-ion battery, a GSM cellular link, and a choice of backs that can use a magnet, Velcro, or a clip to attach. Trackamo is a fairly complete hardware device in a tiny package that also includes a year of monitoring so you can see where the thing it's on is and has been. Depending on what you have in mind, you can set it up for geofences, initial motion alerts, SOS alerts, or live tracking on the web or on its app. The web-based historical tracking covers 365 days of date, time, place, and speed. If you don't find a way to give it a micro USB power feed, the battery will need to be recharged in about 2 days. Bottom line, if there's a what's, where, when within your need to know, you may want to get your things to go with Trackamo. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin review. Trackamo, I believe it was. But yeah, I know you'll be hearing that one all week long. But in both hours today, we are here with Sandy Berger. She joins us for both hours as we talk about mainly gadgets that came out of CES, because what comes out of CES is what everyone's going to be seeing on the shelves in essentially this year. So very exciting stuff. Just finished up the M cable. You can go check that out. Primarily sold through Amazon, it looks like, and probably one other retail outlet that I'm currently drawing a blank on. But $130, $150, I think it was for the longer one. Look very, very cool, and definitely if you are investing in some kind of higher end television, it seems like something totally worth the extra money for, because again, you could just get a 10-foot cable for $7, $8, $9, $10, but hey, if you're spending money for a new television, why not get a new cable to go with it to make it look better?
The during the break is a good point. I went to look at the back of it. All it says is it says, and I was going to the Vizio website to download the manual, and I realized I didn't have the model number, so I couldn't do that. But it does say the gold. There's one labeled in gold. Is one, and it says 1080p and higher, 4K. So I'm not sure, because if you have a 1080p source, you could use it, put it in there, and I'm not sure whether you would get a better result at this point. But I need to go get the model number of the TV, and then the next break I'll go ahead and, and find that and see what that's for. Because they definitely offer a different HDMI input, evidently with a higher resolution, but I'm not sure exactly what that's for, other than it says 1080p and higher, 4K. Go figure. Okay, so anything else on the M cable before we move on?
No, I think we're good.
All right, well then let's go to the Ditto. Now this is again from a company called Simple Matters, and we've been in touch with them, and they were scheduled to be on the show, and then one thing led to another, and we had to reschedule them. So they'll be coming on either later this month or sometime in March. But they do have a product called the Ditto. So tell us about this.
Well, obviously you'll learn more about it, and I'll listen to your show when you have them on, so I can even learn more. But from my initial testing, it's an interesting little thing. It's small. I hold it up to the camera here. It's about as big as your thumb, if you're listening without seeing our picture.
Yeah, look at that.
Comes in black or white. It's the size of a Fitbit, the first Fitbit that came out, which you could put into a watch or into different things. But instead of putting this into something, it has a little clip on it. So they also give you a wristband, which is pretty inexpensive looking, but works well. You can clip it onto the wristband. You can clip it onto your clothing. You can wear it inside your clothing, outside your clothing, doesn't really matter. And what this device does is it lets you know when your cell phone rings. Now, that might sound a little, why would you want that? But hey, there are a lot of people that get home, they want to put their cell phone on the counter by the door when they walk in, and yet they don't really want to miss that important call or miss any call. So what this does is it vibrates. So if you're wearing it near your body, which you should be, it will vibrate, you'll feel it, and you set it up with an app. So there's an app for Apple and an app for Android as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with that app, you can set it up to a text when you get an email, when something's happening on your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
You can also set it up as a tether, which is really nice. So that means you set it up so that when your cell phone gets out of range, it will vibrate. And you can set up different vibrations. So it's almost like Morse code that you set up yourself. The initial vibration for the tether, I think it was for going out of range from your cell phone, is 4 vibrations. You know, the beep, 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 that sort of thing. And you tell right away. And what was interesting is when I went to come on this radio show, I went to turn my phone off, and when I turned my phone off, it vibrated because it lost the connection to the phone. So I thought that was also very interesting. I think it's a great little device for an alert or an alarm. If you want to be woke up at a certain time in the morning, you could make this your alarm clock, as long as you're a light enough sleeper that you actually feel it. I know some people, you could have a siren and they still won't wake up, so this wouldn't be good for them. But for some people it would. You can also set it as a timer. You can even connect it to other apps like Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram.
Now, why would you want to do that?
Well, if you want to be alerted when somebody
Right.
sends you something posts something, whatever. I have not tried those, so I don't know exactly if it's whenever somebody posts or if you can get it down to certain people. That is one nice thing you can do, and I know you can do it because I've done this on my cell phone, is you can connect it only to your favorites. So if you don't want to be bothered every time the cell phone rings, but you do want to be bothered when your mom calls, you want to know it. When your child calls, you want to know it. You just put those people into your favorites on your cell phone, and this thing will only alert you for your favorites, which I thought was pretty neat.
That is kind of interesting. To be more selective.
I actually got one of these, and you're piquing my interest because I was out there at CES with you, and they threw one at me. I was like,
it comes boxed, yep.
Yeah, I was like, all right. And and it comes with a little wrist strap, so you can strap it to your wrist. And
it's very interesting. It's very small, like I said, the size of your thumb.
Right.
It doesn't feel like it's terribly good quality. I worry about it's got a little snap on the end that you snap up when you want to attach it, and that's pretty sturdy. But I worry that might break off. But I haven't been testing it long enough to really find that out. But I'll let you know on that after I use it some more.
Please stress test it. See how long it takes to break.
Hasn't gone through the Sandy stress test yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it says waterproof, so.
And it is waterproof, and I have tried that. You can wear it, swimming or put it underwater. I mean, you're not going to want to put it too deep underwater, but you can definitely.
So it's not water resistant, it's waterproof.
No, it's waterproof. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty good. It's actually trending on Amazon. Amazon has a new area that they're calling Connected Home or something like that, and they list everything that's trending. And Ditto is one of the things that's been hot on Amazon. So I guess people are buying it. $39.95.
I'm trying to think of a scenario where I would find that useful. I mean, I know Ben. I guess on the surface, Ben didn't think it was too useful because it's still in the box. He didn't put it on. I guess.
I think in a professional world, because there's never a situation doing the show, but I just keep my phone off screen. But like in a professional setting where if you glance at your phone too much, you make it look like you're not paying attention or you're being rude or something like that. I think something like this would be very, very helpful.
I do too. I think you're absolutely right. There are certain people who would gravitate towards something like this because they'd have a good use for it.
Well, I like the fact that you can make it selected. In other words, if you're expecting an important call and but you don't really want to be bothered for everybody else, you can actually in the app say, okay, if such and such a number calls or this is.
Well, your favorites only, so you could put that person in your favorites, but if you had other favorites, it would also do that. So that's one place they could improve upon this. They could let you put in telephone numbers that you want to be alerted to.
Okay. All right.
Another nice thing about it is that it's run by a little tiny battery, but it doesn't have any cables and there's no charging. You don't have to worry about that it's going to last. I'm not sure, but
what's the battery life? What's the battery life on that?
I don't know what the battery life is, and I didn't find it. I didn't see it on their website either.
Maybe it was too short-lived to.
I doubt that. I'm sure
battery life is.
I'm sure it's got a decent battery life, and I've been using mine for, I guess, a month.
Okay.
So it's been fine. So.
You've been getting a lot of vibrates. I mean, calls. I mean, you've been using it quite a bit.
Yeah, I keep it set for. I keep it set for my favorites, and the other thing that I really like is waking up to it, because you can just put it on the strap of your pajamas or whatever, and not wake. If you're sleeping with your husband or your wife, you don't have to wake your partner up, because they won't even know that it's gone off.
Yeah, that is nice, because that's one of the problems with when I tell my iPhone to set an alarm.
Because it's just not comfortable sleeping with earbuds in.
Right.
It's gonna go. It's gonna wake everybody up, and so that is kind of nice that it can be that selective. Okay, and again, it's economically, it's $39.95.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the device. I assume comes with the battery already, and
right.
And then does it come? It comes with the wristband.
Yeah, it comes with the wristband, and the wristband is. I'll hold it up to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a thin little. Almost rubbery thing. When I first looked at it, my thought was cheap. That really looks cheap, but they've got it so that both ends clasp together well, so you can wear it on your wrist like that, and it does the job.
Is it reversible, or is it blue?
Actually, it's black. I tried to put it on when on the blue side first. But the Velcro is such that the black side is the side that you actually use it on. Well, the device itself comes in black and white.
Okay, so you do make a choice when you purchase it.
Yes, mine is white, and the band is black, but that didn't bother me too much.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, now, of course, if you wear a smartwatch, that could get in the way, I would think.
Well, I don't know how much you would wear it around your wrist. I think you're more likely to, like I would actually clip this to my bra, and you could clip it to your pants, your sleeve, whatever you want it to.
Well, does it? If you clip it to your belt buckle, I mean, the average does it vibrate strongly enough to feel that, or do you need to have it in your shirt pocket or someplace?
You need to have it in your shirt pocket or on the back of somewhere near your skin, so you can feel the vibration.
Okay, good. All right. Well, as I said, we're going to have them on the show, and
I should probably open the box before they get here, huh?
I think you should, definitely.
You probably should do that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Again, Sandy Berger joining us for both hours. We're talking about some of the products that she likes and is reviewing, and this next product is from a company called LumaWave, and it is a light therapy device. Now, before we get into this, just to let you know, we had on the show yesterday a company with a, quote, light therapy device. This was from Sleep Ace. This is their Nox. It's not out yet, but it's supposed to be a light therapy device. But this is different because I'm looking at now, and this is something that's for sleep management.
The Sleep Ace, right, is to use the light to wake you up or to put you to sleep, I believe.
Yeah, this is nothing like that. This is a totally different category, and this is really interesting because I've known of the existence of products that have a similar claim, and my first reaction was, oh, come on, it's like. But my wife actually got one of these devices, not this particular one, but another one from her chiropractor, and according to her, it worked. Now, I can't tell if it was, the placebo effect. You put it on and you think,
if the placebo effect works, then it works.
But
that's right. That's true.
Yeah. But it was really coming from the light or not. But anyway, why don't you tell us about the LumaWave and we can discuss that.
Well, from my research, the idea of the light therapy has been around for a long time. And when it really took off is when we got LEDs that could could do the light therapy. And this particular device, it comes with a long cable to plug it in, and it also comes with a little, maybe a 2-inch by 1-inch controller that you can put on your belt buckle if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But the device itself consists of 4 little, say, 1-inch by 1-inch squares. They're actually rectangles. And I'll hold it up to anybody who's looking at it. Okay.
Yep. I see it.
And
there.
between the squares is a flexible thing so that you can flex it. You could put it around your wrist. You could put it around your ankle. You could place it on your arm. You could
put it
place
on
it
your neck?
this way. You could put it on your neck. You can put it just about anywhere in the body. And it works very well in that it's flexible enough to go where you want it to go.
Okay.
They also give you a little band to hold it in place. So if you put it on your wrist or someplace where you need, say you want to put it on your arm like this, then you would take the band and put it around to hold it in place.
All right. So
okay, go ahead.
Oh, so now you put it on here. Now, have you been trying this out? Have you tried?
I have. The reason I gravitated to this at CES is because before CES I had surgery on my hand. I had surgery on my finger and on carpal tunnel on my wrist, so I had 2 places, and they just simply were not healing. They were really, really bothering me, especially moving around at CES. And so the LumiWave girl, she says, well, I don't normally do this, but I'll give you one to take if you don't mind carrying it in your baggage. And well, my hand hurt bad enough that I said, I'll even carry it in my baggage. And she gave it to me. So I tried it out when I was there, and my finger was swollen, quite a bit swollen. And within 2 days of using this, they suggest 3 times a day, 20 minutes at a time. Within 2 days of using it, the swelling in my finger went down.
Now we don't know for a fact if it would have gone down anyway.
That's right. We don't know, and there's
Craig, do you go to the children's birthday parties and say there's a secret compartment in the hat and the rabbit?
He tells it all. No, we cannot make medical claims. All I can tell you is the reaction that I had, and I'm only one person. I have asked the company for some clinical studies on light therapy of this type, but not on this particular device. Oh, well, I can't say they haven't. They've done them, but I haven't gotten them yet.
Okay.
So I talked to them the other day, and I thought I would get something by email. Hasn't come yet.
Now,
so I will be investigating that.
How did you put it on your hand? I mean, it looks kind of large. How would you put that on your finger? I mean, and not
Actually,
yeah.
This and put the strap around my wrist, which holds it in place.
Okay, so then you really can't use your hand while you're doing it. You just leave it.
No, you can't use your hand if you're doing it on your hand.
Okay.
But it is rated for things like sprains, strains, arthritis. It's FDA approved.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I'm incredibly surprised that this is FDA approved, given what I know about the approval process of something to get through the FDA.
Right.
And maybe because it's not a drug, because on a drug's got.
No, the FDA is just as bad on devices as they are on drugs.
So then they must have had this for a long time. It takes 5 years or something.
Yes.
And again, don't know anything about them, but they do have the all their references and all their medical journal entries on the subject listed there on the site with all their references.
That's right.
I will say that their earliest study on this was obviously taken from hopefully someone else, because it references a medical journal back in 1954 or something like that.
Yeah, like I said, the light therapy itself has been around for quite a while.
Right. And then their latest, though, which a little troubling to me, is that their latest entry is 2003. It looks like. So any new science really hasn't been going on.
Well, this is not new science.
Right.
To me, this is old science, but it's something that at least it worked for me.
Okay.
To go back to the FDA approval, it says on their website, the FDA cleared the LumiWave device for temporary relief of minor muscle pain and spasms and minor joint pain and stiffness. such as resulting from strains and sprains. Strains and sprains, that's kind of hard to say. So, as well as for the first clearance for treatment of arthritis in an infrared therapy device. So now I don't know what first clearance means in FDA, if there's steps of the approval that they're talking about for arthritis. Now I do have some arthritis in my other finger that I have because I had an injury to that hand at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have used the LumaWave on that, and that has helped it. And it heats up. All these little pods heat up.
Okay.
And that alone, I think, feels really good, besides being somewhat helpful.
Well, but here's the thing. I mean, they actually have a page on how light therapy is supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking about heat. What they're saying is that there's like two processes, which is the inhibition of pain signals. They say this light energy appears to act on specific nerve fibers involved in the slow conduction of pain signals. And researchers think that the light penetrating to the nerves may stimulate the body to produce endorphins, which are naturally occurring proteins capable of blocking the sensation of pain. That's the first process that they're saying. The second process is that they're saying the release of nitric oxide. They say light energy also appears to stimulate the body to release nitric oxide. This is a naturally occurring chemical in the body whose molecules are thought to signal the body to produce numerous beneficial responses. So, and it's also known to play a critical role in increasing the flow of blood into body tissues. Better blood flow serves to bring fresh nutrients and oxygen into the injured area and remove bacteria and toxins out of it. So that's the simplistic, I guess, how this is supposed to be working. And heat really has nothing to do with it, although you say that the LEDs, they do get warm.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it feels good.
Yeah.
So that's a side benefit is that it actually feels good.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
so, if nothing else, think of it as a heating pad that glows. You know,
I do think the results that I've gotten show more than that. But like I said, I'm just one person. I'm not a clinical trial.
Mm-hmm.
The device itself costs $299, and they have sold out of them since CES, so they're on pre-order right now.
Yep.
There is something to it, but I think there's something to light waves, period. And remember last week I had the Adidas sports watch on that takes your heart rate without any bands or anything like that? After I looked at it more and used it more, I found that on the back side of that, what's a watch type thing, on the back side of the watch are two bright green lights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's actually what's taking your heart rate.
Yes, that's true.
Through your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as we learn more about all this technology, light waves and everything else, there's going to be more and more stuff coming out.
Yeah, and as I said, it's been around for a long time. My wife has the handheld version, which basically you just put it on and hold it for 10 minutes. So there's no improvement of it. The fact that you say that this light frequency available in LED lights is only fairly recent. It's become more practical to design some of this because back in the 50s we didn't have LEDs,
Right.
So and I guess it was a lot more difficult to implement. But now they can make them more affordable. $300 is still a lot of money, but still, hey, if it does the job, why not? Available? Are there any like Medicare benefits, or you can?
I really don't think there are. You could find out from going on their website and doing a chat or something like that, but I doubt that very much.
Okay. All right. Anything else about the LumaWave you want to let her?
No, I just it worked for me, and I still use it. I'm still using it. My hand is really having trouble healing. I was back to the doctor, and he said, "Yes, it's healing very slowly." What do you do for that? And of course, I asked him about the LumaWave opinion because he said he'd have to read all the clinical tests before he would give an opinion. But he does know that certain chiropractors and physical therapists do use this sort of light therapy. And he said, basically, it's not going to hurt you. So if it makes you feel better, go ahead and use it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm doing.
There's no danger, really, as long as the product doesn't malfunction. I mean, if it doesn't hurt you to try it. Okay.
Right.
I got -1 degree burns from the bright LEDs. It was awful.
But other than that, I mean, you can burn yourself with a heating pad. You got to be careful.
I doubt you can burn yourself with LEDs. I really do.
They turn themselves off automatically now that you can't buy the kind that just stay on. So, but they do have some interesting testimonials on the LumaWave website, and a lot of them are from PhDs and doctors. I mean, and people who seem to be in authority, and all of them seem to be very positive. So. And
the treatment is the main treatment. I guess there's 2 treatments. You can press 2 different buttons, but the longer treatment is for 20 minutes, and it does turn itself off after that 20 minutes.
Yep.
So if you were, say, laying in bed and it was helping you relax a little, that's just fine, because you could fall asleep and this thing would just turn itself off and not cause a problem.
I think most modern devices, even the one my wife has, which is a little older, also you have 2 different therapy and then it turns itself off. I think most devices now have something that you can't leave them on indefinitely. All right, again, the LumaWave, and you can check it out at their website at lumawave.com. We are at the top of the hour break. We're going to be momentarily at the top of the hour break, and then we're going to continue on with Sandy Berger. Again, I think the thing we're going to lead off with is a product that Sandy has come to know and love, which is the Amazon Echo. She was an early adopter of this product, and they keep.
And lucky her, it just keeps getting better.
That's right.
More and more stuff. So we're going to continue on with that. Again, 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through, or any page at computeramerica.com. The submit a question button in the upper right-hand corner. Just a quick momentary break, and we'll be back with Hour 2 of the Computer America Show.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on with Sandy Berger, our consumer electronics expert, correspondent to the Computer America Show. She has her own website, which is CompuKiss.com. She's an author, columnist for a new domain.net, and as well as hardwaresecrets.com. And you can read her articles on those different publications. They're available, they're online, and easy to access. Sandy continues on with us. Again, if you want to watch us, just head over to computeramerica.com, go to the show lounge selection, and you'll be joined to the program already in progress on the live video stream. If you're listening to us live Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, that's when we're on. And if you missed that, then you can listen to archives, video and audio archives of the show at computeramerica.com. Again, the internet home of our radio broadcast. So we're continuing on, starting off this hour with the device that we've all come to know and love as the Amazon Echo. Sandy was, I remember when you first came on the show, tell us about this product. You were an early adopter. Something drew you to it. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I think it was love at first sight, I think, with this product for you. And obviously, you have been vindicated in that attraction to this product, because it continues to evolve without you having to buy it again and again and again and again. They continue to add new features to the Amazon Echo. For those of our listeners who may not be familiar with the Echo, why don't you just a quick overview of it, and then.
Well, the Echo is actually Amazon's voice-activated home assistant, where on your cell phones you have Siri or you have Google Now, and those are your cell phone voice assistants. But this is meant to be for your whole house. It is a surround speaker that is black. It's about 9 inches tall and maybe 3 inches around. So it's a cylinder that sits in the middle of your home someplace, and it answers to the name Alexa. Now, if you don't like Alexa, you can change it to Amazon, but those are the only 2 names that are available right this minute.
They won't let you change it to Siri, huh?
No, they won't. I would assume that at some point they might find another 3-syllable word that's not used too often that they could use for Alexa, but right now she is Alexa, and she does quickly become part of your home. When I first got her, which was a little more than a year ago, she basically played music. She played Amazon Music, and being a surround sound speaker, she sounds very good. You could ever find, but a good quality. She can answer questions. She could tell jokes. She could do all basic things like that. And then shortly after I got it, they added the ability to automate other home devices like Philips Hue, like Wemo devices. So Alexa can now turn the lights on and off. And of course, you do have to buy a special light bulb, but they're not that expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You buy a special switch and plug any device into that switch, and Alexa can turn it on and off. Now, with the lights, it's really neat because she can also change the amount of light. So you just say, Alexa, turn the living room lights on to 50% brightness, and she'll do just that. If you tell her to do it to 100% brightness, she'll do just that. She comes with an app, and you put the app on your cell phone, and then you can however, you seldom need to go to the app. Most of your interaction is between her and yourself. Over the course of the year, Amazon has done a fantastic job of adding features to the Echo, adding things that she can do that she couldn't do before. So now you can have her read off your appointments for the day. You can have her make a list of things that you want to buy, all sorts of things. But the most recent ones are that Alexa can now order a pizza from Amazon for you.
Finally.
Not Amazon, from Domino's, I'm sorry. Order a pizza from Domino's. She can call an Uber car for you. She can give you movie showtimes at your local theater, and she can play Spotify. So those are just a few of the things that she can do. She excels at music, and if you have an Amazon Prime account, she can not only play all of your music, but she can play all of the music in Amazon Prime, which is tremendous. I have taken the Echo to clubs that I talk to around town here, be it a Rotary Club or Kiwanis or a PC user group, and I always say, okay, she can play this song, and I'll have her play something like Claire de Lune that everybody recognizes. And then, can somebody give me a song that you think would stump her? And probably done this 6 or 7 times, and not once has anybody stumped her. So she has a wide variety. She doesn't have every song available, obviously, but she has a wide variety, and she can also do Pandora and now Spotify, iHeartRadio. Oh, and she does TuneIn. Now, this show goes off over TuneIn too, right?
Yeah, that was the link.
That was not Spotify. TuneIn.
TuneIn. There you go. So it carries the TuneIn Radio Network. We are heard on the TuneIn Radio Network, and that means you can listen to Computer America. So if you were to ask Alexa to tune to the TuneIn Radio Network and ask for the IRN Radio Network, which is also heard on the TuneIn Radio, you could hear Computer America. That's how you would hear it.
That's right, yeah. And now the way a lot of the things that they're adding work is they are called skills. And because there are so many of them, it's unbelievable the number of skills she has. She can play bingo and do word games and all sorts of things like that. But you basically turn on the skill with your cell phone. So you read through all the skills, decide which ones you want turned on, and then you turn it on, and then she can do it. Like if you say, call a bingo game for me, well, you have to have had that skill turned on in your app.
What does she do? She'll say, oh, 66, and then she'll
That's right.
call out
Yeah.
bingo numbers?
Exactly.
Says
It's
bingo?
unbelievable. Amazon did something and this is one of the reasons that I latched onto the Echo right away. Amazon has played it very smart, and they opened development to anybody. So anybody can develop an app for the Echo. They also invested something like $100 million into an Amazon Echo development area where they were giving money to these various companies, startups or whoever, to help develop things for Echo. And that's why when I went to CES this year, although Apple's home devices were older, had been around more, the Amazon Echo things that were connected were everywhere at CES this year.
Really?
Yeah, it was totally amazing because Amazon had no presence at the show at all. They didn't have a booth. They didn't even have a hotel room that was really advertised. And so to find the Amazon Echo everywhere when Amazon wasn't pushing it was pretty amazing.
How many developers for the Echo do you think were out there?
I don't know how many, but a lot of big ones were, like Uma. Right. Uma announced that they were connecting to the Amazon Echo. Home Advisor, just some of the really big guys. Yeah. And Spotify just came on board recently. So it's
it really seemed like that companies and CES is kind of split up into different categories or different sections, and like the section that included connected devices or home devices, they really take a step out of their way to be compatible with as many as possible. And even though Amazon Echo might be considered the new guy, a lot of them were really compatible with like they really embraced the Echo.
That's right. And at CES, Ford announced that they were going to be compatible with the Echo on some of their new cars. And it's going to be two-way compatibility. So you can be at home in your living room, say, Alexa, start my car, and she'll start your car. But you could also be in the car away from home and talk to Alexa.
So you could have her turn the lights on or whatever you
Yes, yes, and I don't know exactly how that's working because I have not gotten a new Ford yet.
Yeah.
But just the idea that this is all going to be possible is pretty amazing.
Let me ask you this: as a consumer electronics expert, but also as a consumer yourself, would you be motivated or more motivated for your next car to buy a Ford because it's going to work with Alexa in the ways that you just described?
Yes, I would definitely look at Ford, where before I might not have looked at it. If I was going out to buy a new car, I would definitely look at a Ford now just for that reason.
Really?
Because as people get more entrenched in Amazon or more entrenched in Apple or whatever ecosystem they happen to become entrenched in, it's going to be where you want to keep things in that ecosystem. So, in other words, I'll look at something for the Amazon right now for the Amazon Echo before I'll look at something for the Apple HomeKit. She's gotten a good start, a better start.
Really, and again, although the HomeKit is really not centralized around like Alexa, the unit, the HomeKit is a little bit more spread out.
When you talk about HomeKit, what do you mean?
I mean the Apple.
The Apple HomeKit. Yes, the Apple HomeKit is now using Siri.
Siri, okay.
So they are going to use Siri, yeah.
But Siri now, is that Siri in your iPhone or is that Siri out of the iPhone?
I think it's Siri both in your iPhone and possibly out of your iPhone. For instance, Amazon also came out with TV, which is their streaming TV device. She uses Alexa. So you can ask her to find a movie for you or whatever you want to do. And it is connected to your original Echo. So it's getting more and more interesting as we go.
Yeah, because I mean, Microsoft's darling is Cortana, and Microsoft is appearing in some vehicles. You're seeing that where Cortana's so we're seeing some replications of them, but we're not seeing a mix. In other words, whatever standard that you are invested in, it sounds to me like you need to continue investing yourself in that one technology that you selected. And how you selected that could be anything. It could be like you bought an Echo, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas with the Microsoft, it might have been you bought a Microsoft phone, a Windows phone, and that's how you started with there, So
you're definitely right. At this point in time, it is much easier to go with stay within one ecosystem. And I do the total opposite of what I just advised you to do. My husband has an Android phone and an Android tablet. I have an Apple, and we have various devices of all sorts and the Amazon Echo. It's because I'm in the business and I want to keep track of everything. But also, the standards will stabilize. Just like when we had, a long time ago, we had VHS and Betamax.
Mm-hmm.
And then more recently, we had the Blu-ray standards that they fought over. Someone will become the winner here, and it's probably whatever is the most usable and the easiest to use. Good pricing helps.
It's a good analogy, but where I'm not saying that it won't, but it's a little tougher to achieve, because when you mentioned VHS and Betamax, well, basically you're talking about videotape, and that was it, tape, and that was it. Even with the DVDs, it was a DVD. You had the HD DVR and you had Blu-ray. It was still the DVDs. With these devices, though, it's just not
well,
one.
You're talking about storage versus communication, but with communication, developers, they don't want to develop for something just because one thing is on it. They want to develop for an ecosystem where there are millions of customers, where there are millions of other devices that they can integrate with that people are going to use. And so I think, Sandy, you're right. It's going to be harder, but you're also right that it's probably going to shake out to be just one or two big names. It's not going to be so fragmented like it is now.
And also everybody's going to gravitate to using more than one. So, like right now the Amazon uses Zigbee to do the Hue lights, but they also use some other technologies. And so we can use this smart home hub idea with different tech by building 2 or 3 technologies into one device. You're going to see more and more of that. And eventually it's kind of like the Republican presidential race right now. Eventually, they're going to go down to one person. In the home area, I don't know that they're going to come down to one, but as Ben said, it might be 2 of them that take it over and kind of be the prime ones.
And if we have 2 of the prime ones, then maybe we foresee either another company or those companies themselves saying, okay, look, we're just going to, we're the 2 800-pound gorillas, let's combine our resources, and they'll come up with a module or a hub or something to make them all interwork.
I wasn't around when, I don't know if Wi-Fi ever had a competitor, but Wi-Fi seems to be a pretty, ubiquitous standard. Might be something along the lines of a Wi-Fi kind of deal, where it's just, that is the standard that devices communicate with each other, which is Wi-Fi.
Right, and that's because they developed a Wi-Fi consortium to regulate the standards. And in the home area, we're pretty far from that yet. Somebody has to step in and say, okay, we're going to regulate all these standards, and there's a Wi-Fi consortium, and there's a Blu-ray consortium. So, eventually we'll get there with the home automation, but it's going to take a while, I think.
Yeah. And it might come down to the top 2, and there may be no play, and either the consortium will have to step in as a third party and say, okay, if you want, if you want one or the other, fine. You don't need us. But if you want them all to work together, then you're going to need us. And we have this magic hub that works with the two large ones, and they'll kind of work together. And it might be a third party, or it might be a third element that comes into play to control the two big ones. But that's a little down the line. But
Right. Well, one thing that is coming, I think, sooner rather than later for the Echo is that there is going to be another Echo. And the Wall Street Journal has reported this, and they have not, I don't think anybody's verified it because Amazon's not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the Wall Street Journal reported that Amazon is going to debut a smaller and less expensive and a portable version of the Echo.
Now, what is their intent with that? Now, what's the purpose? What do they have in mind?
The Echo right now, you have to have it plugged in for it to work. Okay, some people don't like that. They'd rather have something that worked on battery power, and evidently the smaller Echo work on battery power. Now, they would also, the Wall Street Journal reports that you would have to press a button to talk to it. It's not listening all the time like the Echo is. This is good and this is bad. This is good because there are people I know who will not buy an Echo because they think it's spying on them because it's listening all the time. So the baby Echo would alleviate that. Hopefully Amazon would, the best thing I could think of for them to do would be to do a dock so that you could put this device in and have it charged up all the time and listening all the time, or you could take it out and use it on the battery power only, where you would have to recharge it.
You know, it's sort of like it's something similar that reminds me is that, and I can't do it because my phone's on, but you know, I would say, hey, you know, and to my iPhone, I would mention Siri, and it would only, that command would only activate the iPhone if it was plugged in, it was docked. And then with the next version of iOS, they removed that restriction, so now I can say that phrase, and even though it's unplugged,
like it's around, so you don't activate it.
It'll work. So it was sort of like, and I think there is a switch in the settings where you can turn that on and turn that off. So
people are always so paranoid though.
As long as you give people a choice, because if they dock the new one and they still don't want it, they should have a way of controlling it so they can turn it on and turn it off.
There are like there was that one case about, it was like a Samsung TV or a Sony TV that had voice commands, and you know there was a big hubbub in the news that that the television was spying on people's conversations, and that was just ridiculous. So, like the only reason it was recording your conversation was because it was listening for the commands, and when you said something, immediately after you said something, it was recording the entire room because, again, you commanded it to listen for the command. And people were like, oh, well, that's spying and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that's how technology, that's how the voice recognition technology works. Why are you so concerned about this?
Well, I agree with you, but I do know someone who got an Echo for Christmas and returned it just because they didn't like the idea that it was listening all the time. So if Amazon can come out with one that
may I ask
has the option, that would be
what
better.
age group was that person in?
It was an older person, yes.
Right.
Definitely. Yes.
I think that's indicative of a generation. That's a generation thing. I think that the younger generation understands how these devices work and are not intimidated by that, but the older generation, you're going to find that type of mentality from the older generation.
No, I'm concerned. But I also feel helpless to change it. But I know that I am just being recorded, you know, almost at all times. My internet history is being recorded by multiple companies at all times. Like, I know my information is getting out there. This gentleman obviously does not want his information out there, and that's respectable. It's just the younger generation is like, this is kind of what we grew up in, and this is how the world works now. We're going to have to embrace it. I mean, more power to him. It's just now he unfortunately looks like a Luddite because he uses new technology. But I respect his decision.
I'm not saying I disrespect it either. I'm just saying that I understand it. I just think Ben is correct in the sense that, you know, the younger,
unfortunately,
the technology generation is growing up it is what it is, and this is the world that we're going to live in, and and get over it and just move on, at this point.
Well, the other thing is that I think that Ben and Craig and I, being of a variety of ages from young to old here, but we know that there are people out there that are inspecting these things and taking them apart, and security people and all sorts of people who are just going through these things with a fine-tooth comb to see if anything is amiss in there, if it might be, recording something it shouldn't or whatever. And I think we have more confidence in that than older people who don't understand how technology is working right now.
Yeah. I mean, again, I call up again my conversation with this older gentleman. I got a cab ride from him, and his diatribe throughout the entire cab ride was why he didn't need a computer, and I couldn't come up with the reason why. I mean, and I recognize it pointed out to me though that there are in many cases it's a generational problem, that he didn't grow up with computers. He distrusted them, and he could find no use for them, and nor did he want me to find a use for him. He just didn't want anything to do with them, So, but he was like,
I feel like if we changed the name of our radio show to, I don't know, People versus Computers, I think we would get more people from the other camp. But just by the fact, that our show is Computer America, that we rarely get callers who don't own computers in some form.
Right. And, for years I did AARP. I did their entire website and went to their conventions and really had a lot to do with the older people. And I can tell you that the most amazing thing was the people who said, like Craig is saying, who said, I don't want to have anything to do with the computer. What do I need it for? Blah, blah, blah. Once you could convince them in some way to go ahead and get a computer, those people are the ones who came back to me and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't have any idea you could do this. I didn't know about Google. I didn't know about email. And they left much happier because they were computer owners.
But I agree with you completely. I just said, again, I'm just using this one guy for example. He knew about Gmail. He knew about Google. He knew about it. I said, well, how do you look up? What do you? He says, I use I couldn't convince him. Some people that are just not convinciceable. They just.
That's right, and you're right. We just leave those people alone.
Those people alone, and I was he was my driver, and so we had the conversation. So and he kept bringing it up, and so I just kind of went, after toward the end of the ride, I was just kind of shaking my head. Okay, what else can you do? Yeah, but hey, that's what makes the world go round. Anyway.
True.
Back to the Echo. Okay. Huh?
Well, I want to go back to one question you asked me about the Echo, is why they would be putting out a smaller version.
Oh, yes.
And I think the main reason there is not only what we talked about for security, but also the main reason is because it will be cheaper. Now, at $179, I think the Echo is a bargain, personally, for everything that it can do.
And you got it even less expensive. What do we got for $99?
I got it for $99, and at that time that I got mine, it came with a remote control. Okay. Now, if you want a remote control, you have to pay an extra $25 for the remote.
What is the purpose of the remote?
Well, the remote is, all right, so I have my living room and sunroom and extra room lights all on the Echo. All right, and I go to bed. I can just pick up the remote control and say, turn all the lights off.
So if you're not in the same room where she can't hear you.
So if you're not in the same room, right, you can still control things.
Well, you go,
if you have a thermostat, you can say, turn the heat down. You can say, turn the heat down or whatever. So all these things can be controlled. Now, there are people that are already buying two Echoes to have in various parts of their houses.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you can. But the remote control actually works very well, and it plays Simon Says really well. So the first time my grandkids came over to play with Alexa, and they were asking her to tell a joke and all this stuff over and over and over again, and I went in the bedroom and I said to the remote control, Simon Says, tell so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so to stop bugging me. And the kids just stood there and looked at and because Alexa repeated exactly what I said. So you can actually have some fun with it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Okay. So
but like I thought you were going that you were going to go the way of a new Amazon Echo is on the horizon, and it's nice that they're going to have a cheaper option with that's still going to be able to kind of ease people into it. But I thought that technology is what it is. Have the innards changed from, let's say, the one that you buy off the shelf today from the one that you got a year ago?
Not that I know of. They seem to be exactly the same, and well, I can tell you this. My Echo has exactly the same capabilities of what the one they're selling right now, which is totally amazing because now it has almost doubled in price, and it can do, and that's how we started talking about the Echo, all the things that it could do when I first got it, and then that has been added to and added to and added to. So it can do a whole lot more than it ever could do before. So if they'll make anything different on this smaller Echo, I don't know. I don't know anything about it except the Wall Street Journal report that I read about it.
Do you foresee them coming up with a newer Echo, the next generation Echo? It's been out for how long? You said 2 years?
For a year.
A year.
A little more than a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the iPhone. They come up with a faster processor. I mean, some things happen more quickly.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I thought it was going to go, but...
I don't know. I don't know. I can't mind read Amazon. They do some great things. I don't know what they've got in mind right now. There obviously eventually will be a second version.
Let me rephrase the question then. As a consumer electronics expert who is very familiar with the Amazon Echo, and you'll answer this after the break. What would you like to see them add to the Amazon Echo? And you can reflect on that when we come back. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Sandy Berger, our consumer electronics expert, is here, and also Amazon Echo expert, is here with us. We're going to take a short break. Another News Tips Bullet review from Marty Winston is coming up as well, and then we'll be back with her right after this. Please stay with us. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Lunch, they had 3D printed macaroni. Hi, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the rigid 18-volt Stealth Force Pulse Driver. Big ones are hammer drills. A bit smaller come the impact drivers, and now rigid opens a new category. with their 18-volt Stealth Force 3-speed pulse driver. It features a brushless DC motor powered by a 2-amp-hour lithium-ion battery and runs quieter than most drill driver power tools. Its max no-load speeds in its 3 ranges are 1,000, 1,800, and 2,400 RPM, with great variable speed control in its trigger. A trio of white front LEDs keeps the target well illuminated. It fits standard quarter-inch hex shank bits, so bottom line, with more power, more control, and less noise, the new rigid 18-volt Stealth Force 3-speed pulse driver is easy to love. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Getting tool time up in here. Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We are rounding out our last hour with Sandy Berger as we, talking all about latest gadgets and whatnot. And yeah, on the subject of Amazon Echo, which is getting better and better, which again made a huge showing out at CES in the fact that it was everywhere yet nowhere, which for cloud services was actually a pretty apt metaphor for Amazon. But right before the break, Craig had Sandy Berger because after mentioning how she can't read Amazon's mind, Craig asked, "Hey, what do you think Amazon should do next?" So, with that being said, Sandy?
Okay. The one thing that I long for in what they're doing right now is the Echo can read back your appointments to you, but she can't yet make an appointment. And I think that would be very beneficial while you're sitting around saying, "Oh, make an appointment for me on such and such a day at such and such a time," and she can't do that yet. But there's a lot of other things that are also going to become important as Alexa grows. For instance, you can now say, "Alexa, start my car." Well, what if one of the kids said, "Alexa, start my car"?
Ew, that's not good.
Right now, she responds to any voices, and I think at a certain point in time, she's going to have to do a little better voice recognition to be able to differentiate voices, or how else could they do it? Have a password on it or whatever? They couldn't do that because the kids would hear the password. But anyway.
I'm not saying that I had one of these, but they solved that issue with, I think it was the Polly Pocket personal journal back in 2001 that you could buy from Toys R Us, and you could link it to your voice, and you would put it, voice your password in your voice, and then the commercial had little brother coming up trying to get into the journal, and apparently he had the arm strength of a toddler, but that aside, it was keyed to that voice individually. Like, you think that technology would be pretty easy to come by, but
I think you're right. I think that technology is fairly easy to come by. Voice recognition technology within the past 5 years has improved something like 300%.
I believe it.
And the reason it's moving so quickly now is because all of these devices are internet connected. Okay, and they're all recording everyone's voice. So therefore, if someone from North Carolina talks to Alexa with a very, very strong Southern drawl, well, when Alexa hears somebody from Atlanta using a similar drawl, they can relate to it and recognize it better. So it's getting better and better, and I don't doubt that they can differentiate between your family. I think the technology is already there. What I'm saying is they're going to have to incorporate something like that into some of these devices for home automation, because you don't want the kids or people that aren't usually in your home being able to handle those devices.
Yeah, I mean, but it goes beyond. There are some additional points there. I mean, you don't want your 5-year-old or 10-year-old saying, Alexa, start the car.
Well, I mean, you do if they're driving. That's
Yeah, but not a
Not a 10.
not a 10. Yeah, a 10-year-old, you don't want to do the car. But there has to be more than that. I mean, you don't want to say to Alexa, ignore everything that this 10-year-old is saying. You have to. It has to be tasks. Do everything that the 10-year-old with the following exceptions. Starting the car. Doing this, doing that, and say, these things are not allowed by this particular person or this.
And this is a weird issue because if you go into something like creating accounts or personalities where saying okay it's going to be able to recognize that this is the 10-year-old and the 10-year-old in the household has access to the movies, the music, and this and this with these parental controls. Amazon Echo, don't make any mistakes about it. It's there to collect your search habits, your living habits, your everything. Like kind of the price of the offset is it's creating these profiles for you, and it's going to offer you, it's going to let Amazon offer you better deals, and that's just what you sign on for. Just like when you use Google. I think it's illegal to track kids like under 13. So I think they're going with the blanket statement right now, saying that really they don't let kids use it because technically by law they're not allowed to collect personal information from extreme minors.
Yes, but it could be, for instance, the Amazon right now, the Echo, can recognize different profiles. So you can put in 2 different profiles for the husband and wife, would be the normal way to do it, and say, give me, change to this and this profile, and then give me my appointments for the day. And then I would have to say, change back to my profile and give me the appointments for the day. There are ways to handle this, and I know that Amazon has some very, very good parental controls built into their Kindle devices. Yeah. So there is a way to do this, and they're probably far beyond our conversation right now. They've probably worked out a lot of this.
Or the tonality of the voice. It'll know that it's Sandy speaking or it's her husband speaking, and so you won't have to say go to this such and such profile.
Wait,
it's like
you just said tonality, and I was like, oh wait, is Alexa gonna know when I have a tone? It's like.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Netflix. It says who's watching. Well, you have Ben's account, you have my account, so that you can't. But with the spoken word, it's sort of a biometric. The sound quality of the voice will identify the person who's using it, and then you'll have that profile already engaged by the mere fact of saying it. And I foresee that's probably something that they're gonna. So it'll be something like that.
Right, and they won't. Ramifications for people too young because it would be the parents setting the parental controls for the voices that are recognizable and
or if you
posed as 10 or 12 or whatever.
Yeah, or if you have a guest in your home or someone comes in your home and says, "Hey, start the car," well,
exactly.
I don't want Bob, who's going to starting my car, so it's going to say, "I'm sorry, Bob, but you're not authorized to do that," because it'll just say. Or just
I can't do that, Bob. It's like, oh no!
Open the pod bay doors, Bob. Exactly. But there are going to have to be, as these devices or these types of devices become more prolific in our lives, they're going to have to have these kind of things in place.
Maybe Amazon's banking on the long con and is just ignoring. Well, they have Ford, but maybe ignoring cars to the point where. Everything's self-driving, and you don't even have to talk to your car. Like now, you just talk to your car. Maybe.
Well, I'll tell you, that was the other amazing thing at CES this year. There's always a lot of cars. There's been the last few years talk about autonomous cars and all this stuff, but the speed at which this is coming was amazing to me. People were saying, experts were saying that by 2025 they're going to be on the road and driving around everywhere. At Showstoppers, Mario Andretti was there. Did you see him?
I unfortunately did not, but yeah, I heard everyone talking about him, yeah.
Very, very nice guy, but besides being a nice guy, he was their representative of a insurance company. And that insurance company is going through all the ideas of whose fault is it going to be if an autonomous car hits another car.
Yeah,
You
these
know,
are
so
all things. These are all things that they're going to have answers and ready to go before the car hits the road, obviously. And there are some fairly complex and ethical decisions to be made.
No, there aren't. Oh my God.
Okay. All right. Well,
But yeah, it's still very interesting to out there at CES in 2016 you could get a I believe it was a Mercedes or BMW that was taking people through the crowded streets of Vegas in self-driving cars with no human input necessary, and that's in 2016.
right.
So that technology for it to work its way down to the consumer models of most cars by 2025 is completely possible. I mean, that it's very, very exciting.
yeah, it is. And
That's only 9 years away.
then
My
Bart,
goodness.
we
What?
should all be able to
But
see that. Yeah.
I was talking about AARP a little earlier in the show, and what a boon for people that are older
Right.
that want to be able to live by themselves, and yet they can no longer drive. I mean, that would be fantastic to be able to have a car to drive me around when I'm 90. I love it.
Yeah, and that was Google's feel good story when they first announced this, was that this gentleman who was unable to leave the house for the first time ever got in a car and took himself to the store to get his own medication, and
Yeah.
that was their first feel good story. That the level of independence that this can provide is staggering.
I think
Yeah.
he was blind, or one of them
He was blind.
Yeah, he was blind. Exactly. Well, listen, I know we have another story to do, but with Keurig, anything else on the Echo before we move?
No, I think we can talk about the Echo forever and ever, so we'll take it up again next month. How's that?
Okay, all right. Well, maybe next month they'll have all these problems solved.
Next month they'll integrate with I don't know, everything.
Everything.
All right, for those of you who love that their coffee in the morning and can't exist without it, and Ben and I certainly know someone who is like that.
It's an addiction. It's sad.
My wife has to have her cup of coffee before she can function. And I mean literally. I mean she's got to have it, And if she doesn't have it, I tried something didn't have as high caffeine level. That didn't work, It's just she had to go back to the darker coffee because the caffeine fix wasn't there. Keurig though is in the news. Keurig has their coffee makers make wonderful coffee. I mean, it really is. It tastes great. It's truly like you make the best cup of coffee with it. But they've been had some bad things, because they were trying to put digital rights management on the K cups and all this stuff. So what's happening with Keurig these days?
Well, for years they have been working on a product that they call Keurig Cold. And that is a Keurig that can brew, if you want to use the term brew, Coke and 7-Up and cold drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And they've come out with it. It's a beautiful looking machine. I mean, if you take a look at it on their website, it's very, very nice looking. It is. It makes good drinks. It's got a lot of pros and a lot of cons. Let me put it that way.
All right.
All right. Let's go with you can make Coke, root beer, a lot of other cold drinks, and they do have the rights to the brand drinks.
Okay. So Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, that type of thing.
Diet Coke, whatever you want.
So you're not getting those weird off-brand, slightly sound familiar names.
Right. Not what is the one, Dr. Peter or something like that? No, you're not getting that. You get the real Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And in my testing, I think that it tastes good. I've had some people think that it didn't taste quite perfect, but I thought the Coke, Dr. Pepper, everything tasted very good. I was very impressed with the carbonation. They do a great job in carbonating.
Now, the carbonating is not with the pressure, it's a chemical carbonation?
It's done in the machine. I'm not sure exactly how it's done.
Okay.
But I can tell you this, that setting it up is easy. However, what you have to do to prep it, and doing that takes 2.5 hours.
Getting it prepped the
Now,
first time you say?
yeah, I mean, you just press, basically, you're putting water in, you're pressing a button, and it's cooling down. It's actually cooling for 2.5 hours. Now, they said, Keurig website said 2 hours. Mine took 2.5 hours.
Well, it's the initial time. I mean, okay, that's
No
understandable.
problem, right? That's understandable.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. That 2.5 hours, it was so loud that I couldn't walk in the kitchen. It sounded like an airplane taking off in my kitchen. It was very, very loud.
You know, this reminds me, this is the evolution of the product. The original Keurig coffee, it was so loud it made your teeth rattle. You know, it was and the counter vibrate. And then after the first, there was a second to the third generation, and finally they came out with the next generation after that, and it was quiet.
Well, like nowadays they essentially hum. Like they aren't silent, but they sound like they're humming whenever they brew their coffee. But I mean, the cold, I guess it's just everything that would fit into a normal refrigerator, they've squeezed into, you know, the size of the Keurig Cold.
Exactly.
But,
It's not even a hum. I mean, the one that we have here in the home in South Florida is from the slightly older generation. It's the hums. But the one we have up in the Carolinas, it's quiet. You can barely hear it. This doesn't even hum. It just makes a slight little noise.
Right. Well, they have not gotten that far with the Keurig Cold.
Okay, so they're starting all over again.
Well, the other problem is that you have to leave it plugged in all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
It has no on-off switch. You have to leave it on all the time if you want to have instant cold beverages.
Okay.
All right. So if you turn it off to save electricity, guess what? It's got to go back through this 2-hour cool down, charge up, or whatever they call it.
All right.
It has to go through that again. Okay, so that doesn't make it real instant unless you don't mind using that much electricity. The problem with my device, another problem with my device, is it hums constantly. If it's plugged in, it has this little tiny, you know, the kind that's just slightly aggravating.
yeah,
That you don't want in your kitchen.
Like, unfortunately, well, I mean, it's already in your kitchen. That's in a normal refrigerator, but that's just the condenser, you know, kind of always circulating the fluid. But having it right there set up on your counter, I can see where that could be annoying.
Yes, it is annoying.
Yeah, refrigerators don't hum. I mean, they make no noise.
Yeah, they do.
Well, some do and some don't. And this one does.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like that. The drinks are good. All right, let's go through my pros. Okay, so I don't miss anything. It makes, number one, makes brand name drinks. Very good.
Yeah.
Good carbonation, good flavor. No CO2 cartridge needed, like in those other devices that make, you know, sparkling drinks. You need a CO2 cartridge.
Okay.
The pods are recyclable. Now, Keurig has taken heat on this forever, that their coffee pods are not recyclable. These pods are twice the size of a coffee pod,
Yeah.
but you pull off the top and you pull off the bottom, empty it, and then it's recyclable. So it's recyclable, but not easily recyclable.
Mm.
It is easy to use. It was just a matter of putting the water in, pressing a few buttons, and you go. It's fun. It can be impressive to people. It's very good looking and quality construction. And they have cocktail mixers like mojito, margarita, that sort of thing.
Wow.
So those are my pros, and it sounds pretty good until you get to the cons.
So the cocktail mixers, there's no alcohol. You have to add the alcohol.
You have to add the alcohol, yeah.
Into the Keurig, or you pour it in after you make the.
You pour it in after, I believe, and I didn't have one of those to try, so I can't tell you that for sure.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Got it.
The cons. It's big. It is so big. I was totally amazed. I was amazed when the box came, and more amazed when I put it on my kitchen counter because it barely fits on the counter.
Really, it's
It's
big.
like more than 2 times as big as a Keurig coffee maker.
I have heard tell that not only is it big, but it's wide and very, very deep.
It is. It's big, wide, deep, heavy. It weighs 24 pounds. It's not, you know, not like you could just move it over on the countertop. You've got to lift it up. The white one is very, very good looking. The black one is good looking too. And in the pictures on their website, it doesn't look that big. But this thing, I think most people with an average size kitchen are going to find it almost too big to set on the countertop. It's also louder making drinks. So although I complained about the noise when it was powering up or cooling down, when it actually goes through the process of making the drinks, it's about twice as loud as my Keurig coffee maker.
Oh my gosh. Well, do you have the latest version of the Keurig, which it's almost silent, or you don't have that? You have an older one?
No, I have an older one that it's not that old, but it makes a hissing noise in that when the coffee is coming down.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and so it's not that loud. It's not noticeably aggravating. The Keurig cold is almost noticeably aggravating in the noise that it makes. The machine itself is pricey. It's listed discounted on the Keurig website for $2.99, so it's not a cheap machine. And the pods, I think, are the thing that really tops it off as far as pricing goes. It's just what I consider a poor value. So you wind up getting 4 pods for $4.99. So it's $1.25 per pod. Okay. The cocktail mixers were 4 for $5.99, even more expensive. But this makes 8 ounces of Coke.
That's like
So you're paying $1.25 for an 8-ounce glass of Coke.
Yeah, and it's most cans.
And this is, of course, as opposed to going to the store buying a 2-liter for $1.88 or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it does offer the convenience of having it there if you don't mind having it on all the time and you don't mind the noise. But there are things you have to overlook. I could see where it could be a fun thing for someone to have for a party and impress their friends or whatever. But the 8-ounce glass just for me was not big enough. Now, for those of you who are seeing us on the, this is the glass I drink out of.
Yeah.
24 ounces. And that's a normal glass that I have drinking from all the time.
It'll be 3 pods.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be 3 pods at $3.75 for Coke. We're not talking Starbucks. Now, maybe this catches on like Starbucks did. I never thought people would want to pay $5 for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know, when I was growing up, it was 50 cents or $1 or something like that. So will this catch on? Are people willing to pay that much for an 8 ounces of soda?
See, but I think that's the thing that sold the original Keurig, the cup of coffee, was that the value was there. Like one of their advertising points was that, hey, why spend $5 on Starbucks when you could buy a pod for $1, for $1 and get the same coffee or a similar cup of coffee. And it's like,
right.
There was value there. Here, I mean, sodas are cheap. Sodas are the highest, earnings for restaurants and things like that because they're so cheap, and yet they couldn't find a way to pass that cheap on.
Right.
I buy a 2-liter bottle of the soda that I like is like 89 cents for a 2-liter bottle, and you put it in the fridge, and that's it. It stays cold when you want it. So
now, one of their selling points was this way you can have a separate drink for every person at the party or every person in your family, which is true. They also said that sometimes the soda gets wasted if you only have 1 glass out of a 2-liter bottle and throw the rest away. And I'm sure that justify the price of the pods. Now, I'll be honest with you, when Keurig first came out with their coffee pot, I didn't buy it because I thought the pods were too expensive. And it wasn't until the pods came down in price that I actually went out and bought a Keurig, which I use every day now.
Keurig has to go in a certain direction to stay viable, and I guess this is their next foray into it, but I think they should have considered it.
I mean, really, if noise of a Boeing 747 aside and counter space guzzling aside, if they could get the value of the pods down where it was economical to keep 24 pods instead of 24 cans of soda in the pantry, and the price was perfectly fine, this would be a really good product. It's just for $300 for the machine.
I have to agree. I could overlook some of that. I could take it off my kitchen counter and put it in my laundry room.
And by the way,
the noise would
the noise
bother me. The size wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, but the noise again is just for refrigeration. The carbonation doesn't come from the unit. It's a chemical. They're little carbonation crystals in each pod, and that's what gives the soda the fizz.
Yeah,
So
they are crystals. You're right.
It's not even in the unit. So they may
and real quick, how big is the reservoir? Like, can it only make 4 cans of soda?
No, the reservoir was big. I don't have the specs in front of me. I don't know. It was quite large.
Yeah. Well, or they find a way to just hook it up to your sink. Just have a direct water line in.
At that point, just spring for the soda fountain in the kitchen, like we all want.
Exactly. Well, again, Sandy, we're just about out of time. Again, I know that your website is CompuKiss.com, and you write for HardwareSecrets.com, a new domain.net. What's coming up next for you, or what should we see?
And by the way, real quick, CompuKiss.com, definitely go check it out. But I do like your top 2 articles there. Is Windows 10 spying on us? Followed by top 10 reasons to upgrade to Windows 10. So
yeah, exactly. Way to go, right?
Yeah.
We've got more Windows 10 stuff coming up. We've got a lot of new products that we'll be reviewing on the website, and the current code, the website review will go up before too long.
90 seconds.
And I consider that, by the way, the current code is the first generation. So as Craig was saying, we'll wait and see how the second and third generation come out.
I think that's what's going to happen, but I agree with you completely. We need to see another couple of generations refinement of this product. Again, thanks so much for being with us here, Sandy. It's always a pleasure having you here on the show, and stay with us, please, to the end. Coming up tomorrow, what do we got?
Seconds.
Oh, we've got Polaris is going to be on the show. They're talking about this new golf cart, a miniature vehicle, a street legal electric vehicle. It's a lot different than a golf cart, but it looks really cool. It may compete with Tesla, who knows? And then in the first hour, we're going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, thanks to all of you for watching us, and Ben and I will see you here same time, same place. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Have a great afternoon. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
10 seconds.
Bye, Sandy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, again, thanks for watching after our show. And Sandy, thanks again, and we'll see you next month. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Take care.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.